Okay, I think we're up and going. I'll find out here in a second if I crash. Okay, we're going good. Welcome to the Superior Stream episode I'm on the road. I'm not sure which episode it is. It's supposed to be I was supposed to do an episode last week, but I was driving up to a different state, so I was not able to broadcast at a time I would have preferred. But I'm broadcasting now, so let's get this show on the road. I got a couple different topics I want to cover tonight. Of varying quality. A lot of this stuff is just rambling I'm gonna do, I think. But for the most part, I hope you enjoy the show. We'll get underway here in just a second. But I traveled a long way, a wrong ray from a distant land. Yes. Um, I traveled quite a distance across multiple states in a car. And if there was ever a time for the US to get a high-speed rail system like under development, now is that time. 'Cause wow, driving sucks. Well, not in general, but driving for a long distance it has destroyed my butt. Like it's hard to sit on my bottom. But that's something I'll take care of in the future, I think. And no, yeah, we need a high-speed maglev railway. I'm not sure where they would put it, but it's probably like from the top, it's like somewhere near Canada and like stretch it all the way down to Mexico. Like a continental railroad, so to speak, for 2015. It'll be a public works project. It'll give people jobs, at least until they finish the road or railway, and then there'll be no jobs. But no, drive a long way. One problem I encountered that I've not encountered for a long time, driving up from the mini states over all the way from Texas up to Tennessee. Uh, I had to stop on the side of the road and drop a deuce. What's worse, I had eaten rice and pico de gallo. And if you're not familiar with this kind of food mix, when it comes out the other end, it is the consistency of pudding and having to excrement, or what would be the word, uh, exit excrement out of my rear end on the highway, on the side of the road, uh, with pico de gallo, or what was left of pico de gallo and so forth, coming out of me. It was not a pleasurable experience, I'll tell you that right now. But yeah, pooping on the side of the road. If I was in a high-speed rail train, I would not have had to done that. I would have had like a whole separate car dedicated specifically for that purpose, for pooping that is, or whatever you want to do inside that room. Ugh. But yeah, driving sucks. So no, I was driving for, if I had to calculate the hours, I'd say at least 30 hours on the road, because I was coming from like the very furthest tip of the southernmost part of Texas, to be honest. And it's a lovely place down in South Texas. If you've never visited there, you've got to give it a go. It is a paradise. But the cost is, of course, it is way out. It is way south, like way south. The town is literally called Brownsville. Like it's not a joke. Brownsville, Mexicans, yuck 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 yuck. Yeah. But that's the name of the town. Look it up. There's a documentary on Brownsville regarding it being a border town. I need to watch that documentary since I actually live there, but it basically goes over the drama that prevails for living on a border town, and how the city that is comprises Brownsville is more or less kind of dissected. I've heard it's a very interesting show. Let me get the game started here. That's correct. Oop, there we go. Oh, Fog of War. Wait a second. This is why I don't play games and stream. Because what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna let the AI put on a show for you. But let me get her going here. What did I have? I had this one. I had Olaf, Andy, Black. And I won't be participating. Oh, dang. Double dog. Dang. But while I'm trying to get this up and going, what was I going to do? Alright. Anyway, I got to where I was gonna go. And for a while, what I've been trying to do is upgrade my phone. I have not wanted to upgrade my phone. It's just been something that's been on my to-do list for a while. And I figured when I did upgrade my phone, I would get a smartphone because, the utility of having a mobile computer in your pocket is just, it is a godsend for when you really need to have that utility. But like I said, I didn't want to buy one because they're really expensive, and I just didn't have a need for it. My old phone worked well. It was a flip phone kind of deal. Um, very basic. It didn't really do that much. Let's see here. Yield! Yes, I'll lose. But what's cool about this game is the AI will take over and it'll play without me, so it'll give us a show for a bit. Or it should. There we go. Alright. But, I got this smartphone. Alright, it's an LG L70, I believe. It's not too bad. I wanted to get a, what was it? I'll have to look it up on the internet a little bit, but it was going to be a little bit better than the phone I did get, but the L70's not a bad phone by any stretch of the imagination. Um, it has built-in GPS. It can pretty much do all the mainstream Android app games there are. It's basically like every other smartphone. You have audiobooks, media, you just check your email and so forth. It's a really neat little gadget. And like I said, I did not want to buy one because I had no need for a cell phone specifically. But I did not want to buy another flip phone because I needed the utility of a new phone if I was going to buy one, if that makes any sense. I wanted to, have an investment that would actually take care of me a little bit. Um, but it was hard because I was trying to get a hold of a smartphone and transfer my old numbers to the new phone. And my flip phone was so old that they could not do it. It was like, yeah, that SIM card's no good, bro. You might as well throw that thing away. So, that's one other thing I have to take care of. I need to cancel my old cell phone service, which is something I'll probably do once this stream finishes. Because I do not want to get charged $30 for a separate cell phone service that I'm no longer using. What else? Yeah, so I got my new phone up and going, and I've gradually been putting numbers back on the phone for a little while now. And it's a slow and arduous process. I'll probably have it repopulated with new numbers and fairly soon. What I'm kind of hyped about is the Google uh, cloud option. So in the event I ever lose this phone or it breaks or whatever, all of my personal information, phone numbers and such will be stored on the cloud, and I can just transfer those to my new phone, which will be lovely. I'm actually hunting down the phone. My girlfriend actually has Cricket, and Cricket's not too bad as far as I understand. The people that I met at the Cricket store were actually fairly nice. They walked me through the different plans and so forth. I got the cheapest plan, which is like $40, and there's a $5 discount if you have the auto pay enabled. So I'm like, yeah, stick that shit on there. So it's $35 a month for like 2.5 gigabytes of data, which I'm never going to use. I don't download that much stuff. And if you use Wi-Fi from McDonald's or wherever you are, then the likelihood of burning through all that data is relatively insignificant unless you're just downloading apps every single day. What else? Oh, so far I'm pretty much pleased with the phone. It does all I need to do. The most important thing is to take and make calls. That's all I needed it to do. Everything else is pretty much icing on the cake for me with that phone. It cost about, I want to say like $50 on the dot, plus another 25 for activation, and then it ended up coming to be about like $119 after everything for the service and what have you. But I think, like I said, it's not a bad purchase. I did not want to buy it right now. I was holding off for a while, but had my phone not fallen out of my pocket and snapped in twain, I probably wouldn't have bought it. Pretty much all there is to it. Now, in the same vein of cell phones specifically, I want to talk about mobile games, which, I like video games, so naturally, the first things I did was trying to download a few games. Let me see if I can't wrangle my phone up here in a second. I'll get a look and see some of the games I've downloaded. get it turned on here. Come on, buddy. There we go. I'll give you a brief rundown of just these are just a few games I've bought. You can give them a look if you want to. They're all free to play, so there's no cost to entry. Uh, I've liked them all so far. Let me see. The first one I want to go over is one I actually bought originally for a tablet, or I didn't buy it, I downloaded it, called Fantasy Defense. And if you're not familiar with this game, that's probably for the best. It's by no means the best mobile game out there, but it is fairly simplistic gameplay-wise. You line up characters along a path, and monsters and so forth will go down that path, and your guys you've lined up along the path will shoot at them, destroy them, kill them, that sort of deal. Um, it offers a number of payment options if you want to buy stuff, but I never felt compelled to buy anything, which is pretty much the way you want to have it. You don't want to feel like the game's nickel and diming you every cent of the way. It does have a lot of busty characters with like their tits and so forth hanging out. And you'll probably just use like a lot of there's like 2 or 3 like characters that do a lot of damage that you'll probably end up using rather than trying to get a balanced team together. At least that's how I played the game. I ended up beating it, and I wasn't dissatisfied with the time I'd spent with the game. Like I said, you can buy a few things that make gameplay a little bit easier, but the game in and of itself is fairly balanced as is. Overall, I think I rated it already as like a 4 out of 5 or 4.5 out of 5 if you can do that. You know, it's serviceable for a mobile game. Another game I've downloaded as of late, I've actually heard about for quite a while. It's called Terra Battle, spelled Terra Battle. Basically, what this game is a game where you line up characters on either side of an enemy, and they will attack it. I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it. It feels like a card game mechanically, but it's not a card game. But like I said, if you're familiar with card games or paper rock scissors style battles, then it'll feel rather comfortable for you. And it has a kind of addictive nature that you'll want to keep playing it. And actually, it's designed to kind of it. I don't want to say it tries to nickel and dime you, but there are ways to speed things along so you can have progress a bit faster. But if you take your time with the game and just play it idly, you know, while you're waiting for your gas to fill up, and if you're at a gas station or if you're just sitting around not doing anything, it won't feel like you have to pay anything. And that's, again, like I said, what I'm looking for in free-to-play games. I don't want to feel like I absolutely have to pay to get fun out of a game. And this is one of those games that will, I think, please. I do want to mention this is actually developed by Square Enix. A lot of the artwork in this game is really nice. Same with the animations and just the overall presentation. And again, it's free to play, so if you download it and you don't like it, worst case scenario, you only wasted a couple minutes downloading it and giving it a try. So, yeah, definitely try Terra Battle. It blows Fantasy Defense out of the water in terms of quality. But, you know, not everyone's going to like either or. If you want the more tower defense style, you want to go with Fantasy Defense. If you want a more kind of Final Fantasy tic-tac-toe-ish kind of card gaming feel, then you're going to want to go with Terra Battle. Both these games reward critical thinking kind of stuff, so if you like being able to exploit mechanics in a game to get more out of it, you will enjoy these games, I think. Let's see, what else have I played? I played Tower Defense, you know, this one's pretty much says it's exactly what it says on the tin. I liked the art style and so forth. Basically, the premise is your dudes are in space and they're like trying to harvest this rare mineral on this planet, and the aliens don't like it, so they have to fight off aliens while harvesting this mineral. And it's like if you played Fantasy Defense, Tower Defense will feel almost exactly the same. It's line up towers along a path, enemies will come by and your towers shoot them. Stylistically, I don't like Tower Defense as much as I like Fantasy Defense. It feels a bit more simplistic and it doesn't have as much polish. But if you don't like the fantasy setting, the tower defense will probably satiate your lust for tower defense games. Mechanically, it seems pretty fun for me so far, but like I said, I'd prefer fantasy defense. And what else can I have done? There's not much to say about tower defense. Like I said, it's meh. It's definitely like a 3 out of 5 kind of game. Like if you absolutely have to have a tower defense kind of game, I would say fantasy defense rather than tower defense. Um, let's see another game I got. I got a game called Faraway Kingdom. And what is Faraway Kingdom? Faraway Kingdom is basically a it's kind of advertised as a kingdom simulator, but I find it more of a dungeon crawler kind of deal. You can send groups of your hero folks that you can recruit in your town into dungeons to fight stuff, and you can kind of help them in the dungeons. You can also send them on these other kind of secret dungeons beneath, and they kind of do their own thing. And you can build houses for them to live in, and it's kind of like mechanically, there's a lot of stuff to do, and you can have a lot of fun with like what's available to you. So it gives you that nice agency kind of feeling. But the animations are fairly simplistic, and while the game does have a pixelated charm to it, um, those wanting more, I guess, what would be the word, a better art style are going to feel this game is a bit lacking. But it offers a lot of different things. You can equip your characters with different sets of armor and bits. Uh, like the other two games, Fantasy Defense, Terra Battle, and Tower Defense, all these have stamina systems where you can only play for so long, then your stamina has to regenerate. But like I said, unless you're playing it constantly, you're not going to really hit this roadblock. And if it's really that big of a deal, if you feel that compelled to play, um, you can always purchase, more stamina in-game. But one thing I've noticed about all these free-to-play games, like I said, they're all pretty fun, and they seem to hand you like a bunch of in-game purchasable items. Blah. In-game purchasable items. For instance, this one game, I'm gonna move away from Faraway Kingdom because there's not too much more to say about it. The game Chain Chronicle is a game published by Sega. It keeps on giving me like all this extra like items and such that I can't even use. Well, I can use them, but I don't have any need to use them. Like a lot of stamina boosters and so forth. And what I'm curious is how are these companies supposed to make any money if they're giving me all their pay items for free? Maybe there's something. Maybe I've not gotten far enough into the game to really see where they start exploiting me, the player. But so far, for pretty much all these games I've played, I've never felt compelled to give the publisher money, unless I just wanted to do it out of the kindness of my heart. Uh, but yeah, let me talk about Chain Chronicle a bit more. I barely touched on it so far. Chain Chronicle, like I said, published by Sega. It has quality on par with Terra Battle in terms of character art and game design. It has a fairly intricate battle system for a tablet-based game or a smartphone-based game. And if you're a fan of RPGs, you may actually enjoy it. Like I said, it's definitely not Game of the Year material, but considering what they did and having done it on a tablet, it's pretty impressive, I think. Uh, what else do we have? Um, I'm not trying to think what else I can say about Chain Chronicle. Chain Chronicle feels very similar to Terra Battle. Both these games have what I would say be like, move my mouse there. Have a it's a sort of how would I say? It's like an RNG styled uh, uh, card pickup kind of deal. What's like whenever you open a pack of Pokemon cards, you'll get certain cards. It's much the same way. You'll use a magical item in either Terra Battle or Chain Chronicle, and you'll get a new fighter. Maybe it's one you already have, maybe it's someone else. And the cool thing is, no matter which card you get, if it's a new one, that'll add to your team. If it's an old one, it'll usually buff something you already have. So say you already have a warrior dude in Chain Chronicle. When you get another, like the exact same warrior dude card, it's not just garbage. You can add that card to him, and it'll buff his stats just a little bit, which I think is neato. Um, like I said, fantasy defense and tower defense. Those are more like I said, brothers of another mother, so to speak. Fantasy defense more being, of course, about fantasy, whereas tower defense is just a sci-fi version of that. Although, like I said, in terms of tower defense games in general, I would much rather prefer fantasy defense because it feels a lot more unique gameplay-wise and gives you more options. Again, touching on Faraway Kingdom, like I said, if you're into the pixel art style, it'll probably entertain you. And like I said, it has a lot of agency in terms of what you can actually do in the game. So the options it offers are pretty impressive, I think. And I'll post links to all these games once I'm done with this show, I think. Uh-oh, let's see. Uh-oh, Olaf's gonna cast his Blizzard. Alright, let's see. What's the next topic on the agenda? It's, where's a good place to get free audiobooks? I know there's Audible. I did the free trial of that on the advice of a podcast I listened to. I gave it a free try, and it was decent. You know, they had a lot of audiobook selections. But what I've noticed browsing YouTube, there's actually a lot of audiobooks people have simply uploaded to YouTube, and YouTube's Content ID service doesn't seem to be able to differentiate these audiobooks from, you know, actual copyrighted material, which is good for you if you want to just read audiobooks for free, but I feel authors are getting the short end of the stick here because, you know, their books are more or less being given away for free. The audiobook version, anyway. The actual print versions, you know, a lot of times you can get for free or at a fairly discounted rate nowadays. One of the books I started listening to on YouTube recently was Michael Crichton's Jurassic Park, and I need to start finishing that up. But I'm trying to figure out a way I can download it off YouTube and then put that on my phone. I've been trying to use a few different programs, but when I try to download the video using the programs that I have available, well, it's not actually programs, it's websites I use, it'll do it for me. It converts it into an exe, which sounds like all kinds of malware to me. So I'm probably gonna either download a dedicated program to do it that I know I can trust, or find a better website for downloading it. But what else can I say about audiobooks? Since I'm on the topic, I'll talk about one audiobook I've talked about before, which is The Martian by Andy Weir. I'll have to write that down here in a second. 1 second. Pause the game. Yeah, but yeah, Andy Weir. He wrote The Martian. If you're not familiar, it's basically a survival story of a guy who gets stranded on Mars after his crew has to evacuate from a sandstorm. And during the evacuation, he gets skewered by this pole that they have like around the space station, and they think that he's like SOL, so they just leave. Anyway, like after they're gone, he realizes his situation, and he's like, "Well, I'm gonna die here, but until I do, I'm gonna try to survive." And that's pretty much the whole premise of the story. Um, it's really good. Like it was like a really like from out of nowhere kind of sleeper hit kind of deal. And like when I got my hands on the audiobook, I could not stop listening to it. I pretty much listened from like the very beginning to the end in like a single go. Granted, I had video games and stuff to play while it was going, so I kind of had that going in the background, but still, it was a very interesting read. Well, I didn't read it, I listened to it. But no, definitely pick up Andy Weir's The Martian, or listen to it for free on YouTube like I did if you're a cheap bastard. Because it is a very interesting book, and the guy who does the voices for all the characters is actually like pretty decent. Like he does two different Indian voices, I believe, of separate Indian characters like talking to each other, and there's like slight differences in the accents they each do, which is like if you've never done voice work before, that's a tricky negotiation. Let's see. And what else? Audiobooks, right. And like I said, I'm trying to find a place where I can download them for free. I saw a few apps on various app stores where I can download older books for free. But I'm kind of hesitant because a lot of them are either like Alice in Wonderland or An American History, and like so those aren't necessarily bad books, but there's not stuff that's going that big right now. Uh, I know Amazon's Kindle app has a lot of good free books, which I've already read into. A lot of Arsène Lupin, and there's one called Bones. Yeah, I'll talk about all the audiobooks I've read, or not audiobooks, but just ebooks, because I've read a couple different ones. Um, Bones is about a dog surviving the apocalypse. Well, actually, multiple apocalypse scenarios, and it's all through the camera of this dog's perspective. So he doesn't have the reasoning or the intelligence of a human, but you get to see like his steps and logic and how he solves problems and deals with complex issues as a dog. And the writer really does a good job of putting you in the dog's shoes, so to speak. Although dogs don't wear shoes, so I guess putting it in his paws, as it were. Uh, the book I got was actually free when I downloaded it. When I went to go check and see the new version, or if there was another version of his book, it actually costs money now. So you may have to actually pay for Bones, which is the name of the dog in the book. I think the price is like $5.99. I'm sure though if you search around, you can probably find the free version floating around at some point. But I know I downloaded originally. The book was for free on Amazon Kindle. So apparently this guy, I'm not the only one who thinks he's good because he started charging for his books. Uh, I mentioned another title earlier, and this is actually from a lot. Get it pulled up here. Where's my audio book or ebook thing here? Amazon Kindle. I mentioned Arsène Lupin, and there's actually a bunch of his books, which that's not actually the name of the author. That's the name of the character. The actual character, or I'm sorry, the author. I'll have his name here in a second. If I can pull him up here in a second. It's written by Maurice Leblanc. 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 Um, um, basically, uh, it's a number of different stories regarding the gentleman thief Arsène Lupin. Uh, and like it reads very dry, so if you're used to more action-packed stories, you're probably going to be disappointed. But if you like mystery stuff like Sherlock Holmes and such, this will probably be right up your alley. Because basically what Arsène Lupin does, he goes around, he steals priceless artifacts, he woos women, he's a real ladies' man, and he's always evading the police and just causing all sorts of trouble. And if you're familiar with Lupin the Third, which is an anime, uh, it's basically a precursor to that, but actually the anime, of course, came after this book, which was written back in 18. When was the book written? Let's see. I'll see the date here in a second. Copyright 1912 to 1913. Okay, that's a bit. I thought it was like earlier, like around the time. Maybe I'm reading the dates wrong. Okay, here we go. Let's see. 1864 to 1941. Okay, see, I'm getting dates all over the clock, but basically, suffice it to say, this story is very old. Like I said, it was written around the same time Sherlock Holmes was, and actually the writer Marcel Leblanc, or what would I say, Leblanc, he was a big fan um, of the Sherlock Holmes books, and he'd actually tried to get a deal together with the Sherlock Holmes author. And the guy, what's his name? Sir Arthur Conan Doyle was like, I hate you. You're a Frenchie. I'm not going to give you any parts of the rights to my book. And LeBlanc was like, you know what, fine. So he went and LeBlanc wrote a character called Herlock Sholmes, who basically acted exactly like Sherlock Holmes. And it was basically LeBlanc's way of saying, you'll not give me the Sherlock Holmes, then I'll write my own in a true French fashion. So that's why I like this author. Like he doesn't care. He'll just do whatever. But more on the book. What is Arsène Lupin like? What's is it? How does it read? Like I said, it's fairly dry. So if you're used to more action-oriented books, it'll probably be a bit boring. But if you like I said, murder mysteries, uh, missing people mysteries, or problem-solving kind of stuff, like what happened to this priceless heirloom? Where did it go? You'll probably like this kind of book, I think. And like I said, it's there. These are all free. All the Lupin books are free. At least they were free the last time I checked. And the problem is they are public domain, and they, I believe, were translated for free. So you'll probably encounter a few spelling errors every so often. But apart from a few spelling errors sprinkled here and there, you're not going to see, I don't think, that many problems with. I'm going to turn the volume down for the game a little bit. It's pretty low, but it's even louder. Okay, that's good. Um, there's a few spelling errors here and there, but for the most part, it's you're not gonna like be completely thrown off by the kind of errors you find in the book. And considering it's free, you can't complain too much. What about other audiobooks? Apart from Bones and Arsène Lupin, I haven't really done that much audio, or not. I keep saying audiobooks. These are not audiobooks. They're just ebooks. I've not done that much ebook reading, and I should, considering there's actually a lot of great free ebook titles out there if you're willing to just dig through them. Uh, what next? We're only 30 minutes in. I may cut this off around 40 minutes, but we'll see here soon enough. Next on the list is what is a good wedding gift to get? I'm going to a wedding here on the 23rd, and I'm thinking, should I get something for both the bride and the groom? Or should I just get something specifically for the bride, or just the groom by themselves? I'm thinking about just getting one gift for both of them that they will both will enjoy. Let's see. I have not given it no thought whatsoever. My guess is some kind of housewarming gift, but the fact of the matter is I know their house and they actually have like a whole lot of stuff as it is, so I don't want to clutter up their house with any more stuff they don't need. What I will probably get, because these folks, which I'll keep their names secret in case they don't want to be announced to on the internets. They're big into animals and pets, so I'm thinking about getting some kind of animal themed gift. I may get some kind of stuffed animal or something along those lines to kind of commemorate the day. But I don't know. Listen. It seems like a kind of a cop out kind of gift. Like I could do something better with a bit more thought. So once I figure out what I'm gonna get, I'm sure it's gonna be something good. I'm gonna have to get it. I'm probably what to get. I'm drawing a blank. I'm trying to think what would I want to get for my wedding day. Whenever that happens to be, whenever that comes. I would want uh, something that doesn't take up space, because everyone and their mother literally is going to be giving me gifts. So that's just more crap I gotta tow along or put away in my house before the honeymoon. So something, oh, a gift card. Bananas, that's what I'll do. Gift card at a 10. Yeah, it doesn't require the most thought, but you can slip it in your wallet, you use it anywhere. You could get multiple gift cards. I'm gonna do that. Multiple gift cards. I'll get one for a restaurant, another one for Walmart or some other such place where you can buy yourself, a DVD or what have you, and you pick and choose your gift, you know. And to that end, I suppose I could just wad up like a couple bills and say a happy wedding. But at least the gift card gives me the illusion that I give, that I actually care. Which is that sounds so sad, but I think that's the path I'm gonna go with. And like I said, it's one less box they have to clean up, one less knick-knack they have to pack away in a drawer and then re-gift to somebody else a couple months from now. Oh, I got somebody in the chat. I'm pausing to say hello to them. Hello, buddy. But Yeah, what I'm gonna get for the wedding will be gift cards. You cannot go wrong with gift cards. Like, worst case scenario, it'll be like, okay, this will be somewhat useful, you know? I don't have to worry about getting him like a blender or something like, I gotta use this in my kitchen somewhere. So yeah, gift cards all the way. I only have to now decide what kind of gift cards I'm gonna get. Like I said, I'm gonna get a restaurant one like what? Applebee's. No, everyone everyone gives out Applebee's gift cards. I'm gonna have to find like a majestic kind of secret corner in the wall kind of restaurant that nobody would think of. Make them. I'll make the wedding, the gift card something just so obscure like they have trouble actually using it. That'll be funny. And as for the other gift card, probably something like Lowe's or Home Depot, because you can never have enough tools. But what else can I talk about? All right, bachelor party, which I just went to just a weekend before, and you know, like what did I do at the bachelor party? The better question would be, what did I not do at the bachelor party? We had all kinds of naked ladies dancing around. Uh, multiple guys were getting laid at once. A real orgy kind of deal. No, I'm just kidding. There was no girls. It was just guys. Guys playing video games in probably some of the most sad ways possible, which I'll get into more detail here shortly. Uh, the name of the bachelor party we was well, it was called the bachelor party, but we referred to it as the Tournament of Champions. Uh, Originally, it was supposed to decide who would get to be the quote-unquote best man, but apparently that was just like a faux kind of setup since they're still not decided on who's going to be the best man yet. Still, though, I think I would have won best man. I think I came in second. I'll have to check the standings again. But actually, the man of the hour himself actually won first, so I guess he's his own best man, which is kind of funny if you think about it. Uh, no, we had stick fighting, we had Clobbermeister, we had frisbee tag. It was a lot of just fun games, a lot of stuff where guys get to run around, touch each other inappropriately, bloody each other up. It was real like guy on guy action, and that sounds really gay, and that's because it is. But it's an okay kind of gay, like a kind of nod nod wink wink kind of deal. It was good times for everybody involved, I think. Uh, there was one issue that came about, and I will catch flack from this from the man of the hour who knows what I'm talking about. But I'll go ahead and explain it, because as a man who's cooked a few things in his time, I have to talk about this, because every man has to cook. No, I did not take him aside and tell him he's making a huge mistake, Mr. Steaks 7. No, the mistake he was making, though, the man of the hour that I'm referring to, was how to cook on a grill. All right, now, if you've never cooked on a grill before, you need a few things. All right, it's not rocket science. You don't need a degree in culinary arts to use a grill. It's real basic shit. All right. Uh, what he needed, and what he didn't have at the time, was charcoal and maybe a charcoal poker. The other stuff, he got lighter fluid, which he had to buy on the day, along with tinfoil, and I believe he bought something else. But the things that kind of saved the day that he did get were the tinfoil and the lighter fluid. And that's about the only thing he did do right. But let me count the ways that I encountered multiple mistakes from this guy. All right. First off, the wood he chose to burn for this barbecue. All right, keep in mind this is a park-owned grill. This is not his. So he's shoving full-on chopped logs into this grill. Okay, so that they pretty much take up all the available space that is in the wood area where you would burn the logs, or where you were actually supposed to be burning charcoal. Okay, um, and not only that, he's not putting the correct kind of wood in there. The night before, we'd had a campfire, and there was wood that was ready to burn. It was whenever you burn wood in a campfire, it'll turn like a dark black color, and that is good wood for just starting a fire and cooking food. But I know we didn't. I know Mr. Steaks, we didn't have any charcoal because the man of the hour decided not to get any charcoal, so we had to use what we had to use. So he got, like I said, this is unburnt wood. So this is like wood that has never felt a lick of fire. All right. And he has this wood jammed into the grill along with bits of dried grass. And I'm looking at this like, Jesus, he's gonna set the goddamn forest on fire. But I'm laughing, I'm trying to hold back tears here because I'm just counting the ways this is gonna burn up in his face, literally. But, me and another fellow who I believe has a bit more experience cooking than a man of the hour, we were just watching, and we had probably the worst thing next to the man of the hour, which I'll refer to as the danger of justice. Danger of justice is another friend of ours, and let's just say that he is accident prone. So you have a guy who's never cooked before being assisted by a man we wouldn't trust to carry us over a road of pillows, okay? And at some point during this charade they were calling a barbecue, they began to jam pine cones into the grill. Now you're probably asking yourself, why pine cones in the grill? Well, I was asking myself that very same question because this is clearly, this is not the order of operations. And the famous words from Chris Rock once said, "You can drive a car with your feet, that doesn't make it a good fucking idea." And that's exactly what they were doing. They had pine cones, like I said, jammed into this grill, and they were trying to use the pine cones to light the wood that wasn't ready to burn. What they ended up doing was generating a lot of smoke, a lot of ashes, and a very noxious scent from the wood. Now, that sounds pretty bad in and of itself, like how much worse can it get? Well, it got worse. Let me count the ways. The tinfoil, of course, being in direct contact with the flame, ended up getting burnt, which isn't necessarily a problem in and of itself, but it causes the meat to stick to the tinfoil. And you have the tinfoil burning and curling around the meat. So in a way, we're wrapping the food in indirectly, or in a way that we did not mean to wrap it. Trying to get this meat together, all right? So what I have to do at this point is grab cups of water out of the kitchen to kind of douse these flames, because literally the flames are eating our food. So I'm running out there, grabbing cups of water for man of the hour, trying to douse these flames and get them into submission enough that we can actually maybe salvage some of this food. But it's just looking worse and worse, really. Just, the food is burnt. Alright, there's no better way to say about it. It's burnt on the outside and raw on the inside. This stuff is, a stomach virus just waiting to happen. Somehow or the other, like I said, I took time out of my time. I went over to the fire that we'd done together last night and grabbed some wood that was already primed to burn. Yeah, like I said, Mr. Steaks, man of the hour. He's used a stove before, but he's obviously never used a grill, or at least not one properly, because the way he was using this grill at the park, it basically just showed a complete lack of experience in regards to grilling. But like I said, I'll go over that more later. But I got some, like I said, some of the wood that had been burned last night. It was proper burning wood. It was black. It was ready to burn. And I put that in there, and that kind of got the fire going. Although he argued that he got the fire going himself. I'm not going to split hairs. It was a real mess inside that grill, so I honestly couldn't tell what was going on. But what happened next? So yeah, we ended up burning various kinds of meats. We put sausages on there. The sausages were the worst. The outsides were completely burnt black, charred black, and the insides were raw. And I found this out because they sent me into the kitchen to investigate these sausages. And, I'm slicing them open, getting an eye inside. It's of course redder than the rawest of meats. I'm like, shit, I gotta take this back outside. And it's already black on the outside, so I'm curious as to how the hell we can eat this stuff without getting some kind of dysentery. But I carry it back out there, and they plop it back on the grill. And at one point, one of the sausages, in its death knell of a scream, squirts out its inner juices, almost hits the man of the hour right in the face. We are all just breaking out laughing over the absurdity of this all, of course. And a few harsh words were spoke between everybody, because everyone was on edge trying to get this meat to cook right. In the end, though, I don't think I ate like a piece of one, and I realized this stuff is no good. And I, sight unseen, slipped it into the garbage bag and ate some food that I brought. So, man of the hour said that there was nothing wrong with the food, but this is also the same guy who was stuck on the toilet for the first part of his workday when he got back to work after the bachelor party, and claimed that he couldn't stop shitting all over the place. So, you take that as you will. But yeah, that grilling with pine cones, I don't know if you can use pine cones in a grill to like actually just start cooking something. I'm sure you can, but that doesn't mean you should. But yeah, cooking out. What else happened? We had a lot of contests to, like I said, frisbee tag. Frisbee tag was fun. Uh, I placed, I think, pretty much second in almost all the competitions we had because I'm no joke like that. Frisbee tag is another thing I'm pretty good at. Tossing a frisbee, hitting somebody with it. We had stick fighting, like I mentioned. Stick fighting's not my forte, and I ended up getting some pretty mean bruises from stick fighting. I still have a mean bruise on my arm, but that's just comes with the territory of stick fighting. I got a mean bruise on my arm, and well, I think that's about the only place I really got hurt. Another game we'd played earlier, it's called what was it called? Clobbermeister, where you have to knock your opponent's party hat off their head using wadded up socks inside of another sock. You know, really, it's partly a bunch of goofball games, but when you get to playing with a bunch of other guys, they're fun. And I got hit with a Clobbermeister right on my thumb, and it looked really bad for like a day. But it wasn't bad. Like I didn't break any bones or anything, but it looked like someone had just completely obliterated my thumb. But it's just more or less healed up now. Uh, there's one guy I will talk about, and I don't care if he's listening or if he listens to a recording. Um, I'll refer to him as Crash. If you're not familiar with Crash, it's probably for the best. But Crash he's afraid of his own shadow if he's afraid of anything. And it's really easy to scare this guy, alright? So to put this in perspective, the bachelor party that we're doing takes place in a campground park. There's a cabin, there's, like I said, the grill outside the cabin, and surrounding the cabin there's a bunch of forest and a few other cabins down the lane. So suffice it to say, we're out in the middle of nowhere, or as close to nowhere as you'd want to be for, a cabin. So all through the night, we're trying to scare Crash into submission. You know, we're making up stories like how cultists had tried to summon a demon, and they ended up killing one another, and like their blood was like supposedly on the floor. Whenever we'd get to talking about this, of course, Crash would immediately change the subject because he cannot stand this kind of stuff. He'll literally start freaking out. So he was completely sure we were gonna mess with him during the night, so he opted to sleep on the couch. All right. And what made this extra funny was there were multiple beds in here. There were like way more beds in this cabin than we could ever hope to use. Plus, there were like extra beds folded up in the storage room. We could literally like not go a few feet in this cabin without tripping over a bed. And this guy's sleeping on the couch. We're like, Cash, just get the hell off the couch. Get a bed, man. There's beds all over the place, but he did not want to have it. So he slept on the couch all night. And well, we couldn't believe it. Like how take in mind this. All right, Crash. He's a grown ass man. Okay, he acts like a kid sometimes, but he's went to college. He has a job. He is an adult physically, but sometimes I think he lacks a certain level of mental fortitude that is required of an adult male. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not saying he's dumb. I'm not saying that he's, mentally handicapped. I'm just saying like the way his brain works sometimes makes me wonder about him. And sometimes I sincerely worry for him. But if you're listening, Crash, You know, it's not nothing personal, bro. I think you're all kinds of cool, but sometimes, you know, you really get under my skin with the way you act. Let's see. Oops. Okay. It looks like I may just come in right at an hour, which is which was what I was shooting for originally. And the last topic of the night is pool out of 10. All right. Or well, that's what I called it, but basically, looks like it's the man of the hour himself. Hello, Baggins. The last topic of the night, of course, I'm talking about is pool out of 10. Basically, no matter where you go, no matter what you do, a pool will make any situation significantly better. Um, for instance, there was actually a pool at the park that we went to for this bachelor party, but it didn't actually open until, I don't know, I forget the actual date the lady had said, but it was not the date that we were there, okay? So, what would have been easily a 10 out of 10 bachelor party, I'm gonna have to rate, I would say an 8 out of 10 overall, because the pool was out of commission. Like I said, if the pool was there, this bachelor party had a decent chance um, of having, I think, a 10 out of 10 rating from me. My friend Mr. Baggins here, man of the hour, uh, he's talking about the river, which is, and to his defense, you know, it is a body of water. You can swim in it, you know, you can splash it on people, but as far as it being safe to swim in and just interact with in general, I'm not so sure about that. Uh, as the people who were swimming, as the multiple people who were at this shindig, I should say, were swimming about, at multiple times there were bits and bobs of garbage floating down the way, and I'm just thinking, wow, that's what you can see above the water. I wonder what's beneath it. And God only knows, you know, what kind of stuff they were stepping on. And, you know, whenever you live life, there's a chance, you know, you're going to step on a rock or a sharp piece of glass or anything. And maybe if I had had some wading shoes, uh, you know, I would have maybe taken a chance out there. But without some proper wading shoes, you know, I don't want to stick on somebody's AIDS syringe or get my foot bit by some kind of something or another under the water, you know? Which which is that's why I stayed on the bank of the river and I found some cool fossils. Yeah, you didn't get the shits from the river, you got it from the barbecue. But I'm talking to Mr. Baggins here in the chat. And no, but like I said, pool out of 10. I don't have a pool at my apartment complex. If I did, it would easily be like an 8 out of 10. But right now my apartment down in Texas, I would say is like a decent, I'd say it's a nice 6 out of 10. It's not a bad place. Oh. What can't be both Mr. Steaks? I don't know. But like I said, Mr. Steaks can get back to me in the chat. But my apartment's pretty decent down in Texas, but it would be significantly improved with a pool. And what breaks my heart is there was actually a pool in the apartment complex at some point. Uh, but they had it filled in with cement. So, like I said, all I have is like the graveyard of where a pool once was. Yeah. Shits from either the barbecue or the river, probably both, which I would not be surprised from. Although I'm more apt to say Mr. Baggins got cancer from the river and got the shits from the undercooked bratwurst and or hamburgers. And the pine cones. But I think that about covers all my topics. Although Mr. Baggins, man of the hour, is in the chat. I'll let him take control. What do you want me to talk about, Mr. Baggins? The floor is yours. Let's wait for him to give me a reply here. Although it's a bit of a delay, so it may be a second before he actually hears me get to, well, from what he's watching to what I'm actually saying. In the meantime, you can watch some Advance Wars take place here. No, but yeah, I love Advance Wars. Par for the course, best GBA game ever made. I probably spent, uh, let's see, I'd say like all of my high school from like 10th grade on playing this on the bus, along with a couple other friends I played this on the bus with, because you could play Advance Wars. Uh, yeah, this is a full AI game. I played this on the bus with a friend, you know, because you only had one controller. Baggins, I'm talking to Baggins here. Those pinecone burgers, dude. I'm not saying that's what gave you the shits. All I'm saying is I didn't eat the pinecone burgers and I didn't get the shits. But back onto Advance Wars. Like I said, you can play it by yourself. You can have the AIs fight against you, or you can play against another person. You can design your own maps. Like in terms of agency in a game, like I said, this game really gives you the options of playing the way you want. And you can like complete campaigns however you want to. You can use different commanders to complete missions in different ways. And it really rewards critical thinking, which is an aspect I really like whenever I'm playing a game. Oh man. Yeah, Baggins is going over some old stuff here. Let's see. Oh yes. All right, yeah, I'll tell this story since Baggins brought up. We were playing a game of Advance Wars on my GBA, and Mr. Baggins, I forget, you were either Andy or I was Andy, and the other guy was Strum or some. No, no, we were fighting Sturm, and I was Grit and you were Andy, I think, or what? And anyways, at some point during the battle. At some point during the battle, I had told Jeffrey, here, group your units up, because when Sturm uses his special, it'll hit your guys instead of mine, and then you can use Andy's heal ability and heal your units, you know? And we had been playing this match for the better part of like a couple hours, you know, so we were well into it. This was a long and ongoing match. And basically, how his attack works is the guy we're fighting, Sturm, he will launch a meteor from space and he will attack the largest cluster of high hit point targets on the map. Alright? So, what I was planning is Jeffrey could take the hit, or I'm sorry, Mr. Baggins, and it would just. It would decimate him, but he could use Andy's special ability to heal up and he'd be like good as new the next turn. What Jeffro did, though, is he did not bunch up his units as I requested, and what occurred was that the meteor hit my rockets, alright? And what was the significance of this? The significance of this was that my rockets were just battering Sturm into like complete and utter submission. And they were just destroying him. But now that the rockets were hit with a meteor, they had no attack power left. They were just drained of energy. And meanwhile, Andy over here, with his special that is worth jack shit now, has more or less forsaken me. Uh, and I don't know what made me angry after that. I'm trying to think. I know I got angry enough to go full on Quackerjacks, and pull the actual cartridge out of the Game Boy with my teeth. I remember that. I remember that. I've never been so frustrated in my life. And that's how that game ended. Oh, Nelly. But if you want to go over any of the topics I went over, I'll have links to it in the YouTube video that I'll upload after this is done streaming. Let's see. Yeah, I'll have all the links and so forth. I may post the chat log as well, so you can kind of. And then I won't post the chat log. There's too much stuff. You'll just have to use your imagination as to what people were saying to me as I commentated. But I'll have all the links to all the stuff I talked about. Like, subscribe, and all that business. I'm sorry if you're still watching this, but I'm gonna have to close the stream down here in a moment. Here, I'll go ahead and shut it down. Or shut it down. There we go. I hope you enjoyed it so far. Like I said, I'm probably gonna move my regularly scheduled shows to later on Thursday rather than 6 o'clock, because 6 o'clock is early and it's before the time most folks have to actually view it. And even if I do have it on YouTube, which is fine, um, and I said I would probably be better off if for the folks who do like watching the live stream and interacting with me via the chat to have it at a later time. But yeah, I'll post all this on YouTube. Like, subscribe, press all the buttons. Press all the buttons that are good and ignore all the buttons that are bad. Make me feel good about myself. That's about it. We're shutting her down. Shutting her down right now. Thanks for watching. Have a good night. Uh, See you next episode.